You are listening to the Hoophat Podcast. If you want to take a look inside the brains of a professional basketball player, this podcast is for you. What is going on, my Hoopheads? Welcome to another episode of the Hoophat Podcast. My name is Vincent Nguyen, and today I want to tell you another story. I got a lot of positive reactions from the first episode where I told the story about my head injury, and I figured I'd do another story, this time about how I got into playing basketball. So let's jump straight into it. As a young child, I was always very energetic, running around, playing outside, this and that, football, swimming, whatever it was. And I always wanted to play football, but my mom held off on that for the longest time because she didn't really want to watch me play football outside in the winter, the rain, the snow, all of that in the Netherlands. So yeah, by the time I was 9, she was like, "Why don't you try an indoor sport? Which you could be in the, in a gym where it's warm. There's a roof over her head. She doesn't have to be in the rain, the snow." And it just happened to be we were at a sleepover at my cousin's house, my aunts and uncles, and he played basketball for a few years. I think he played only for like 3 years, but yeah, he had a game that day, and my uncle took me to the court, and the game just excited me, and it also helped that growing up, you're looking up to your older cousins, your friends, your siblings. You know how it is. So I wanted to try too, to play basketball, and I told my mom, and we signed up for some introduction lessons at school. I think it's about 5 of them. You can just pick any sport, and then they'll let you try, see if it's any fun. So yeah, we sign up, and actually I missed the first lesson because my mom was really in charge of the schedules of me, my sister, making sure that we were going to the places we had to go, be there on time if it was school, sports or whatever. But it just happened to be that my mom I think she was working that day, so my dad was in charge of getting me to the practice, and he forgot the time. Obviously I'm a kid, so I don't know what's going on, and by the time that he realizes it's too late, the lesson is already over, so I missed the first one. But luckily the remaining 4 lessons were enough for me to realize that I really wanted to play this game. I had so much fun doing it. So I signed myself up for a club team the next season after the summer. In Europe, usually we separate athletics and school. So you sign up to a club team, practice a couple times a week, and then a game on the weekends. And this is the first time that I really play basketball for like extended period of time. And the coach from the introduction lessons, he saw something in me, and he told the club that I signed up to, you got to put him in the first team. So usually every age group, under 12, under 14, under 16, and then so on, will have multiple teams. And the best kids will be in the first team, and then the second team, third team, fourth team, usually just beginners, right? But this coach said, this guy has something. You should put him in the first team and see how he holds up. Basically, throw him into the deep end of the pool, right? And I think what he saw was that I could just run for days, a lot of energy, like I said, and that also I'm a quick learner. So the club puts me in the first team, and obviously the first couple of months I'm the worst player there. All these other kids have some experience. They played longer than me, maybe the seasons before, and yeah, it's hard for me to find my groove. But I remember that if you fast forward like 10 months towards the end of the season, I am actually starting to find out, okay, I'm pretty good at defense. I can get some steals. I can run really hard. Let me run the fast break and get a wide open layup, So in the first year, I'm really just, so having fun. It's not too serious. But I do enjoy the learning process of just, learning new stuff. So the next year, all the older kids, they move up from under 12 to under 14. So now I'm looking around me the first day of practice, and I'm like, hey, I don't think anybody in here is really that much better than me, And I think the coach saw the same. They started playing me at the point guard position, so now I have the ball in my hands a lot. I'm initiating the plays, and yeah, I can make mistakes without having to worry that somebody is gonna be like mad at me or something. So at that point, I'm really starting to get better and better. I'm starting to see the game a little bit slower, like see what's happening before it happens. Becoming pretty good on defense because I'm so quick. And one of my teammates had season tickets to the professional team in our city. I didn't really know anything about it yet, but he invited me to go see a game, which is funny because the gym is actually only like 5 minutes from my house. So we go there to this game, and I absolutely love it. These guys are shooting 3-pointers, like dunking, alley-oops, and I'm just, my mind's blown. I think these must be like the best basketball players in the whole world. It's definitely the best basketball I had ever seen. This was around 2007, I think, and it was normal that time that a team in the Netherlands had like 6 imports, big budgets. Like they were doing pretty well in Europe. Especially those sold out games. I think the gym over there holds about 3,000 people, and I will never forget the energy that a sold out gym had, especially in those European competitions or the playoffs. I will never forget it. So at this point, I'm really starting to get into basketball. Playing like NBA 2K7 on the PlayStation 2, and like looking at YouTube highlights of Kobe, LeBron, those guys. And at that point, I think I'm starting to dream about being like an NBA player. Obviously, it's just a dream at that point, or still actually, but yeah, it's a kid's dream, and it made me enjoy basketball even more. So at that point, I'm like 13, 14 years old, and I'm trying to take basketball a little bit more serious. Most of my friends or my teammates, they just play basketball for fun, but I really enjoyed getting better, and I wanted to get better. So I asked the club for some help, and they put me in, they had me practice with the older kids. So I was in, I think, under 14, and they had me practice with the under 16 team as well. And I think that is the best thing you can do. If you want to get better at something, you got to find people that are better at that thing than you are. So in basketball, now I was short 14-year-old, 13-year-old, playing with 16-year-olds, stronger, faster, more skilled. And it really exposes your weaknesses. In my own age group, maybe I could just like blow by just because of my speed, and then make a right-handed layup every single time. But in the under 16 now, they cut that move off. So what does that do to yourself? You got to get better. You got to learn how to do a crossover and then another counter move. And yeah, they're pushing you around at first, but if you see it as a challenge, then you will see yourself get better very quickly. And yeah, at first they were pushing me around. I had under 14 practice for an hour or an hour and a half, eat a banana, and then go straight into the under 16 practice. So obviously it's challenging, but during those 3 hours that I practiced, I was probably the most energetic in the first practice, and then after that banana fuel up, be the most energetic in that second practice as well. So yeah, that's really how I got better to play with kids, men that are older than you. You find out what you have to get better at. You have to overcompensate. So that is how I got better. And at the time, there was also a 9 a.m. practice for the most talented kids in the region. So that really separated the people who were just doing it to have fun and who took it a little bit more serious, because you're not going to get up on your Saturday, 7:30, eat breakfast, and then go to the gym, play basketball if you're not really into it. Really have to thank my mom for this. She would drive me all around the city, the province, the country for me just to play basketball. So I owe a lot to her. And yeah, at this point, I'm basically playing basketball every day of the week. It's pretty much an obsession at this point. Even during the summer, so there's no organized basketball in the summer. So I try to go find pickup runs, which was hard in my city. So if that wasn't possible, I would just drag some of my friends to the court. And that's how my closest friends were all from playing basketball. We shared the love of the game usually, so it would make socializing very easy. Be at the court for like 3-4 hours every day of the summer. So all my hard work and dedication to the game, it gets noticed by the academy team of the professional basketball team in my city. And they invited me over to a 2-day tryout. And a couple of my friends are going, a couple of people from out of the city, and we all compete for a spot on the team, basically. So I'm super hyped. I'm going into it. I'm thinking, all right, I'm one of the better kids here. Let's just show them what I got, and I'll make the team. But I don't make the team. After the first day, they tell me you don't have to come back the next day, which hurt a little bit. At that point, I didn't know if they either saw enough for me to make it, or they just didn't think I had it. And it was the second one. They didn't think I had it. So, yeah, that hurt. But I was like, okay, I'm a little naive. I think I can. There's other ways to keep going in basketball, like the regional teams, the national team eventually. Like, I was willing to do whatever it took. So that year, obviously hurt a little bit going back to my club team. But I was still playing with the older kids, so still developing up a little bit. And yeah, let's fast forward a year from there. I think at that point, I didn't give up on my dream of becoming a professional basketball player, but it was definitely like getting out of sight a little bit. But I was going to play full-time with the under 18 team while I was still only 15. So we started practice early that year, like the end of summer. And the coach asks, all right, if the academy team asks anybody to play, are you going to leave this team to go play there? And at that time, I didn't really think much of it, but still raised my hand. I was like, yeah, I'll go. And now thinking back on it, he probably knew something. He probably knew there was a spot opening up, this or that. So he asked a question, because shortly after, I got a call from the academy team. And they pretty much asked me to come to a meeting. So I go to the meeting, to the gym where it's about 5 minutes from my house. And on the spot, they asked me, hey, do you want to come play for us next season? in order to do so, I have to change high schools, leave all my friends behind, and switch to this new high school. Leave the club that I've played for about 6 years now, and leave my friends there to play at the academy team. But on the spot, I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. I think I said you should have picked me last year, but I'll show you that you made a mistake, and show what I got. So I switch high schools. My whole life gets thrown upside down. I leave. Yeah, like I said, I leave my high school. I leave my team. I go to this new high school, and the next day I'm practicing the next week I'm practicing with the academy team. Practice like 7 days a week, a game. It was hard, man, but I think it was worth it. And from that point on, I had my eyes set on becoming a professional basketball player and really started believing in it too. Yeah, I think that's pretty much how I got into it, how my love of the game started. And I'm curious too about how you guys started playing basketball. So drop a comment in the comments below. Let me know how you guys started playing basketball. I know a lot of kids here in Vietnam, they started playing basketball because of that comic, the anime, or the manga, I should say, Slam Dunk, which just released a new movie recently. That's how I found out. But about like 3 or 4 of my teammates said that's how they started playing basketball. So I'm curious about how all you guys started playing basketball and how you fell in love with the game. So drop that in the comments. That's it for this episode. Thank you for listening to the Hoop Hat Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we're also on Spotify right now if you want to listen while jogging, doing errands or whatever. And I will see you guys in the next episode. I'm out.